welcome to today's video. Figured it was a nice day, so I'm gonna shoot it outside with the car, with the art. It's a good day to talk about creating financial freedom. So today's video is very, very, very vitally important because it is the formula to creating financial freedom. It is the financial freedom formula. A lot of this stuff is not taught, and even if it is taught, a lot of times people will tell you the formula, right? But they won't tell you the solution. So in this video, I'm literally going to give you the formula to creating financial freedom, but I'm also going to give you the solution to how to actually create it. So it's very, very important because if you do not have financial freedom, you cannot actually have control over your life. And if you watched the previous video that I made talking about basically the two main motivators for why people make money, it is for control over their life or to feel significant. And financial freedom gives you the control, right? And in my personal opinion, and I've met a lot of people that if their primary motivator is significance, well, significance is kind of like a bucket that can never really be filled, right? It just keeps, needing to be more and more money, meaning you never actually feel in control. But the opposite is if you feel control, you can actually get significance as well. So that's why sometimes if you believe that your primary motivator is still significance, that's fine, but understand that you must gain control to get significance both, right? Because we all need both, right? We need control and we need significance. But if you only chase significance, you basically will never get control. But if you chase control, you get control and significance, and that's what financial freedom allows you to do. So first, before we get into that, the reason why I say that is because it doesn't matter how much money you make, right? This is a complete lie versus, what the school system teaches you about high-paying jobs like doctors, lawyers, and things like that. Because I learned this early on when I was in my 20s. My ex-girlfriend, she was a manager at an ER, so obviously she managed the payroll and I think the scheduling and stuff for these doctors. And we would go to a lot of events with the doctors, and I would be very amazed and shocked because I was always told that these doctors make so much money, and that's what you're striving to do is to become like a doctor because they make money, and that's how you create wealth, right? But a lot of these doctors, they were habitually bad with money, right? They were asking my ex-girlfriend for advances on their paychecks all the time because they would spend more than what they were getting in. So it really didn't matter how much money they made because their financial freedom was basically dictated by what they did. So their time was always, filling up this bucket. I love, the analogy with money is money is basically like water, right? We need water in our life. We need to drink it. We need to understand that it provides us with the things that keep us living. So that is what money is. But most people look at it as they're trying to fill this bucket, and then they have a hole in the bottom of the bucket. Doctors, they might be able to fill that bucket up, but the hole is just spending all of it over and over and over again, and it just goes out, right? And you just keep trying to fill up this bucket. And even if, for instance, this is obviously a generalization, not everybody, that's a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that, spend more than they make, but most of the time I've found out because their primary motivator a lot of times is significance, and significance can never be truly filled, right, without control. So they'll just keep making more money to basically get it all emptied out, right? But if you chase the control, and this is what I'm going to teach you, the formula is basically not to have, chasing this high income and then spend it, right? It is to create cash flow. And cash flow, when we're looking at this analogy of the bucket, right? The bucket is basically imagine if I just gave you a big bucket of water to drink for the rest of your life. It could be a huge bucket of water, but even in the back of your head, you would think, I still have to preserve some of that water because I never know when it's going to run out, right? There has to be a moment in your mind saying, well, at some point, this bucket of water is going to empty, right? Versus cash flow is basically having a faucet of water just constantly running, right? And you can always drink from it. And that is where the difference between trading your time for money and just basically trying to fill up this big bucket of water is different than having a completely stream of income, right? Water that will continuously fund your life forever and ever, right? That is how you create financial freedom. It is not trying to fill this big bucket of water up. It is trying to create a flow, a steady flow that you can now pay all your expenses with all of the flow that comes in. That is not what we're taught. We're taught to get a high paying job and save for the future, blah, 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 blah. This is all a lie. We were built to work. We were built to continuously work. Retirement is a scam, but in that process, you do have to get to a point where you no longer have to work, you get to work. Like, I don't have to make these videos. I don't have to do anything because my flow allows me to do whatever I want, right? That is where you create financial freedom. It gave me control over my life, and it gave me significance because I now feel like I can provide the best services to the people that I'm talking to because I no longer am worrying about this bucket running out of water. It doesn't matter. I have the bucket flowing, right? That is the first part of the equation, is understanding that cash flow is what creates financial freedom, right? So you might have heard that, that's okay, that's not groundbreaking, right? Cash flow is, better than just having a big bucket of water. Well, how do we actually focus on solving that problem, right? Because now you know the problem, well, how do we solve it, right? The reason why it's important to understand that the school system is not teaching you this is because that the formula that they're teaching you is go to job, work for somebody else, and then retire in 40 years, right? And basically be paid what they're willing to pay you. So they dictate what you're worth. I think that is just the wrong model, and we've only really been doing this for 100, 150 years since the industrial age. For all of human existence, we were all kind of entrepreneurial. When people say they're not entrepreneurs, well, we all are entrepreneurs. We've just been lied to by the school system to believe that we are not. And an entrepreneur goes out and solves problems, right? Like, this is a problem that we need to solve in our life, right? The problem is, well, I don't want to not be in control, and I don't want to feel significant, and money and water, the flow of money, is what allows me to now feel in control and feel significant. So once we do that, then we can solve bigger problems, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is because that's the problem. So how do we solve it, right? It's not go to school, get a good job, and then retire in 40 years. That is not the solution. That is not the solution for financial freedom, I promise you. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been meeting with senior citizens for 15 years now, and the scariest thing that they have to worry about is genuinely that they are going to run out of money because they've been told that this, they should save for the future. That's not what you should be doing. You should be creating cash flow. Okay, so now how do we do it? All right, so as you can see, I have my Maserati back here, and that is a vehicle, right? And you have to look at life as different vehicles for the outcomes you desire. So imagine, right, like Lance Armstrong is a phenomenal bike rider, right? No matter how good of a bike rider Lance Armstrong is, if I'm racing him in my Maserati, he will not win. That is the same thing that you have to look at for your life when it comes to financial freedom. If you are playing a game in the wrong vehicle, then you are going to lose to the people that choose a better vehicle. And how do you do this with money specifically, right? Well, I give the example. Well, just an easy example is, let's say you're in sales, right? I picked sales for one of the vehicles, right? Well, you can do all types of different sales. So for instance, if you were a car salesman, right? Let's say you make a sale on selling me this car. Maybe you make, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Okay, that's fine. But now that sale, you have to make it again. You have to do another sale to get that money again. I chose a different vehicle. The vehicle that I chose was insurance and real estate. Those are both cash flowing type businesses, meaning if I make an investment one time into this relationship of a client, then I hopefully nurture and create value in their life and make sure that they are provided with the best possible service in the insurance business. Well, as long as they continue to be my client, I get paid, right? I have that flow of money, right? So that's a better vehicle. I might make less upfront from the initial sale, but I now can go out and find more clients that will fund this, drip So I can now have a continuous flow, right? And then on top of that, once I got past the threshold of my living expenses, I invested back into real estate, which real estate, you invest one time and people continuously have to live there, and that then pays me every month, right? And I have a lot of Airbnbs that pay me every day. So that is a flow, right? I paid up front, I did work up front, and I can, obviously there's, when people say like, oh, well, you never have to trade your time for money. You're always gonna have to trade your time for money at some point, right? But is it in proportion to what you want, and does it give you the freedom to allow you to create that financial freedom in your life? So that is literally why you must understand that the vehicle that you choose is very, very important. You know, it doesn't matter if you work harder than me, but if you're in a terrible vehicle, I will win in the game of financial freedom. So it's not that I'm smart, like I'm not that smart, right? Like I just, understood that cash flow was the name of the game that I was trying to play to create the control and significance and the freedom in my life. So by doing so, I chose vehicles that would align with getting me to that end result much faster. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys today. If it was valuable at all, I'll go in more detail and a lot of other things. Life is nuanced. Obviously, there's a lot of pieces that obviously all control to all of this stuff, but hopefully it was valuable. Like, subscribe, comment below if it didn't make sense, if it made sense. If you have questions about this stuff, shoot me a message. Follow me on Instagram, MOVMATT, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.